Hey everyone, this is my third KO2 tips and tricks video, and today I want to mostly focus on MIDI, and specifically the fact that the KO2 can record in a lot of resolution, a lot of MIDI information that it can pass on to another device. Now, the downside is that you can only edit the notes, you can't edit the control change, program change, or pitch bend, which it can record and pass along, but it would be awesome for like recording a performance. Like if you want to record a 64 bar performance with a ton of nuance, a ton of control change and all of that, you can absolutely do that on the KO2 and then preserve that performance to play along with the OPZ later. So let's get to the demonstrations in a second, but first I want to talk about some of the current limitations on firmware 1.1.2. So the first is that you can't select or filter the incoming MIDI channel. So whether this receives any note from channel 1 through 16, it's going to react to it, and there's no way of turning off the incoming MIDI. I have a little workaround with this keyboard, but it's not perfect, so I'm not necessarily going to recommend it. But yeah, right now there's no way to not have this just accept notes from every single MIDI channel. The second is that the MIDI output channel isn't per group nor per device, it is per pad. And this can be kind of deceptive at first, but I find it really awesome for what I'm going to be demonstrating today, where I'll be basically taking different MIDI or different pads and turning them into their own MIDI tracks. Oops. Okay, so let's go ahead and get right to the demonstration. So first I want to show you what I mean. So if I take my OPZ and I record some automation at a rate of where each of these steps, 16 steps, is a quarter note, it's going to only record every quarter note. So what I mean is that wherever the value of the different parameters are is what's going to be saved in each quarter note. So let me just quickly show you. So if I just record, I'll just record like a C, and then I'll play with these knobs and hold record as we go through. Okay, so that had this kind of like kind of sound, right? But because it's going to have a really weird sound if we watch this filter and the other lights here, because it only recorded every quarter note. So it's not as smooth, right? But the nice part is that the KO2 records with a lot of resolution. So let me show you that exact same example, except this time I'm going to record the notes onto the KO2, and I'm going to play it through this keyboard, which I've got it set up so that way the way that I press the key is going to control the first two parameters, and then I'm going to also record pitch bend, just that way I can really make my point here. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to grab this pad here. I'm going to hit edit, and I'm going to go over and hit plus until I'm at MIDI. I already have it on channel 1, but you can adjust the channel using the X knob or by using shift and plus or minus. So I've got it on channel 1, which is the OPZ's active track. And now I am ready to send from that particular pad over here. I've just got to put it into keys mode and we're good to go. If you don't put it in keys mode, it's still going to try to play just the individual pads, but once it's in keys mode, you're kind of locked into that pad and that MIDI channel out and all of that. So again, let me just show you here. I'm going to be just kind of pressing harder and lighter on the key and then messing around with pitch bend a ton, and hopefully we'll be able to see that smoother recording that happens. So you can hopefully see that it's way, way more resolution than you would expect. It's better than 16th notes, it's better than quarter, it's better than all that stuff. And in fact, you can look at it per tick. So that's a different value between 0.58 and 0.57. So this just has the ability to record, and you can review all of these, and you can edit each tick. So for example, if I'm like, on this tick, it's for whatever reason, it's really important to me. It's really important to me to make this tick have a lower pitch bend value. I don't know. So what I would do there is I would go to that tick, hold record, do the MIDI thing, and let go of record. Then you're going to have to hit record again so it doesn't start auto recording. And what we'll be able to see, hopefully, where was it? Here we go. Okay, so you can see that at the very beginning here, it's going gradually up, and then where I punched in that recording from just 0.8, it's all the way down. And so it's not perfectly smooth, but it's recording quite a bit there. And I think that this is just, I don't know, this is smoother than I see on the OPZ, on the Digatone, or anything. And I think that there's a lot of potential here. The downside, again, is that I can't just erase the automation from CC1 and CC2. It's just like stuck in there. Okay, so I don't have it set up so that you can record program change right now, but you want to make sure that if you record program change to a certain pad, make sure that that pad has the MIDI out channel set to whatever channel the other devices are listening to for program change, because otherwise it just won't pick it up, and that just caused me a lot of frustration when I was playing around earlier. Okay, so the KO2's polyphony is limited as far as the sample playback goes. If you want to play back mono samples, you can play back up to 12 at once, or stereo, you can only play back up to 6 at once. However, these MIDI tracks don't seem to count against that. Let me show you by let's do a pretty extreme example. So I'll go here to this pad. Oops, I'll make the sound 0. And I'm going to edit it, make sure that the MIDI out. Okay, so the MIDI out is to channel 1. So that is just fine for me. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to slam down on, I don't know, like, yeah, why not like 8 notes? And that's what I'll do here. So I'm going to go main, hit record. Then I'm just going to lay on these 8 notes the whole time. Okay, so that's plenty of notes going out, and obviously it's more than the OPZ's engines can handle, but my point is about the KO2's engine. So right now it's sending out 8 notes at once. And so let's layer that. So what I'll do here is I'm going to attempt to play in the drums, which are on the KO2, to just like a very basic beat, and then I will add a ton of sample layers, like a sample polyphony on another MIDI track, just to make my point here. So let's give it a try. So we're not pushing it super far right now, but if I go back here and I go to sound, let me just take this spot that already has a key on it. I'm going to go into keys mode, and let me just try to, I guess, play. And again, this isn't going to sound great just because I'm like layering the crap out of this without any thought of what is going to sound good musically. But my point is just to push the polyphony really far. So at this point, it's not really pushing the KO2's polyphony too far. There's only going to be, like at most maybe 5 or 6 samples, mono samples playing at once. But if those MIDI tracks affected it at all, it would interfere with this, but they don't. So that was kind of my whole point here. Okay, let's... Okay, so hopefully that gives you an idea of how you can use the KO2's MIDI capabilities to really get a lot out of other synthesizers. Like I said, I think it'd be really cool if somebody, set the track length to like 64 bars or something like that, which would be, 4 16-bar loops, and just played a note all the way through being as expressive as they wanted and added automation, because that seems like something that the KO2 will absolutely excel at. So please let me know if you have any questions. I hope you found this helpful, and thank you for watching.